All right, I'm not going to. So I'm here with Tim Armstrong and Arianna Huffington the day and a half after the amazing news that AOL is acquiring Huffington Post and that Arianna will become the editor-in-chief and run content at one of the biggest internet portals in the world. So just give some sense of the reaction after the biggest media news that's hit our world for over a year, I'd say. Tim?
So I'm going to put Arianna on the spot. We both got about 1,000 emails yesterday, and what do you think the opening word was in most of the emails we got?
Shall we have Sharon guess?
Yeah, Sharon, could you guess? What do you think the word was?
Bummer?
No, no.
A shorter word.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Almost every email we got from every influential person across the world basically started with that. And I think the second word was, words were very smart. Arianna got a standing ovation in our office when she came in from the employees. So I think widely recognized as the best female entrepreneur in the news and information
Female
space.
entrepreneur? Whoa.
Yes.
Why the qualifier?
Because we've talked a lot about this, which is, I think, one, entrepreneurism is something that we both love and are focused on. I think the internet as a whole, and we're both very committed to the women's space, I think it's actually special and noted that Arianna is one of the people who will be seen, in historical context of having built the first real news site, co-founded with Kenny Lear, and a female entrepreneur, I think, for the web is something that's been, needed, especially in this space. So I only call it out for that reason, and I think it's a great step forward for the internet. So
we've had about, a little bit more than 24 hours to digest this news, and, the first wave is like, wow, that's a really inventive and bold step. This is an exciting exit for Arianna and Kenny, who built this company from nothing. It's amazing to think that this company didn't exist 6 years ago, and you can build $315 million in value in that time. It's very inspiring for entrepreneurs like myself, actually, and also tells us something about content. So. But now there's a lot of questions that come up. So let's get to sort of the details of what this is going to look like. There's questions as to whether AOL is going to become a left-leaning political site. Address that, would you? What is AOL going to look like?
First of all, people forget that the Huffington Post now consists of 26 sections, and only 15% of our traffic comes from politics. There is just an enormous array of content offerings. Beyond that, if you look at our political coverage, it is what I describe as beyond left and right. We are determined to make it clear that having multiple views on all issues is just the new way to look at how political coverage proceeds, rather than reflexively dividing each issue as a left-wing and a right-wing position.
Well, is that a no? Does that mean AOL is not going to reflect a left or progressive political perspective?
AOL is not a political site. AOL has a Politics Daily, which is the section that covers politics, but it's not a political site. In fact, from the beginning, I was clear that I did not want the Huffington Post to be just a political site. I always wanted it to be an internet newspaper covering every possible interest, including the whole issue of women and living and how we live our lives. And that was always, I felt, the way you could really engage people.
So then how are you going to redefine what AOL content looks like? I mean, the exciting thing about bringing you in is that you are really the hottest voice in internet news, and AOL needs that. It is perceived as stuff as old. It's perceived as dial-up, and Tim, you've struggled a bit to find the right path. It's hard to build a content strategy, right? You've set on that. Talk a little bit about why you made this move and why you felt you needed a big step in your content strategy.
So one is, I think we've been very clear with our own teams, with our investors, with our customers, that content, we believe, is the next phase of the internet, and content is king. So I think this is a natural evolution of us. Number one, taking the worst merger in history, cleaning it up, getting it on track, doing deals that made sense, organically growing our own traffic, and being in a position to actually have something like the Huffington Post to enter our fold and really help blossom, I think, the rest of our properties. And really, I think when you look at the key integration of this deal, it's really about social and community around content. AOL is known for that. There's a big part of the DNA, and before I got there, somehow they killed community on AOL. And I think what Arianna is going to resuscitate at AOL is probably the most significant piece that AOL was known for and will be known for, which is community and contextual nature of great experiences So I just think this is a laser focus from our strategy. I mean, I think one of the things the press has written about is, oh my God, AOL's doing content now. And I think we've been clear on every earnings call, every time I've spoken publicly for the last 20 months, is our destiny is to be the next American great global media company in the content space digitally. And I think you should see this acquisition as an aggressive, bold move in that direction. And look, there's 2,700 press pieces about it yesterday. Whether they're positive or negative, this is a disruptive deal, and we are going to be disruptive in the space.
Well, let's talk about some of the criticisms. Steve Case himself came out and tweeted that when you said that great quote, 1 + 1 = 11, he was skeptical of that. So
first of all, I have to take the blame for this quote because
you asked him for a blurb.
Not the blame. During one of our meetings, Tim said something like 1 + 1 = 6 or something, and I said no, 1 + 1 = 11. And incidentally, Steve Case retweeted, saying that he had been wrong with his first tweet. So
I saw that, but he's a friend of yours, and he's not trying to be destructive. But that was his first impulse, and obviously he's voicing something that other people are also voicing. There's some skepticism.
Let me hit the main points, because I think the skepticism's been pretty clear. And I think, one, it comes down to price, strategy, and execution and culture. And I think on the price side, Arianna got a very fair price. I think on our side, we got a very fair price. We have both tax opportunities with this, but also we have cost reduction. So if you look at this, this is a 10-time multiple on earnings of the Huffington Post for us to acquire it. That is a deal I would do every day of the week.
Let's back up. When you say cost savings, you've already laid off more than 2,000 people at AOL in the past waves. Will there be more?
There are synergies basically that will come from a multitude of different areas. One is from content cost and content creation, content distribution, and content partnerships. So I think there potentially could be reductions in staff overall, but that is not what the total cost takeout is aimed at. So we basically feel like that synergy is something we're going to be working through in the next 30 to 45 days. And then the last piece is execution. I think one of the things that's come up in the press a lot, saying, "Oh my God, this is a big deal in AOL. Can it make the integration?" We took the worst performing corporate merger in history, spun it out of Time Warner, where most of the press said AOL is going to die in 12 months. We resuscitated the culture, the brand. And ended the year with $800 million in cash after starting with $100 million. We were able to bring in a number of companies, but the Huffington Post being the most significant. So if you want to see execution, I would point last year's AOL's execution was probably the strongest out of any internet company. And then the last piece is culture. I think, frankly,
I'm going to ask you to hold off because I'm afraid it's going to cut off when I upload it.